91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. Chris Smither, title track from the album Leave the Light On, released in 2006. And let's get Chris on the phone. Chris, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
That's a wonderful thing. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it. I'd like to do a brief introduction, if I may, and then we'll get into a conversation. I'll start off by saying this. The New York Times says, quote, with a weary, well-traveled voice and a serenely intricate finger-picking style, Mr. Smithers turns the blues into songs that accept hard-won lessons and try to make peace with fate, unquote. The Associated Press says, quote, Smither is an American original, a product of the musical melting pot and one of the absolute best singer-songwriters in the world, unquote. Chris Smither has been playing music for over 60 years. He's worked with countless musicians, including Bonnie Raitt, Dave Alvin, Tim O'Brien, Ellen Toussaint, Loudon Wainwright III, just to name a few. His 20th album is being released on May 3rd and is titled All About the Bones. He'll be on tour and in our area on May 31st at Levon Helm Studios in Woodstock and at the Iridium in New York City on June 7th. A warm welcome to LocalMotion, Chris Smither.
Hey, thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
It's really nice to have you. Before I get into your history, it was so great to see you as a surprise guest at Happy Traum's show at the beautiful Maverick Concerts in Woodstock. I had Happy on the show a few weeks prior to that, and he's like, I've got a really special guest coming, but I can't tell you who it is. So, yeah, that was a real treat to have you up there. Had you played Maverick before, Chris?
No, I was unaware of it. I not only had I not played it, I didn't know it existed.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, no, really cool spot and in the woods and just a great Woodstock vibe. We look forward to welcoming you back into the area soon enough. But let's go back and say this is your life, Chris Smither. I've done a lot of research and learned a lot about you. You have a twin sister.
I do, yes.
Yeah.
Been with me all my life.
Who was born first? Do you all know?
I was born first, 3 minutes.
Okay, so you're the older brother. Gotcha. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And born in Miami, but you guys traveled around a little bit. I know your dad was a professor at Tulane, but even prior to that, didn't you live in Central or South America?
Yeah, well, he was always an academic, but I was born in the last couple of years of the war, of the World War II, and my dad at that time was doing intelligence work, and so we were sort of living all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. None of which you, of course, remember, but that was...
No, I don't remember.
No.
I was born in Miami, and I think we left there when I was 6 months old, and we went to... He was attached to the embassy in Ecuador, and then the war ended, and we moved to Texas for a while, and then he got back into academia.
And went to
We moved to New Orleans.
Yeah. What a fun city. Now, your start in music, did you find like a ukulele, I understand, your mom's?
It was my mother's ukulele, and my dad's brother showed me 3 chords, and that was the end of my academic career.
And your wonderful dad must have been really supportive because he gifted you a guitar.
Yeah, he regretted that for a while. He gave me a guitar when I was 12. We'd gone to Paris for a year, and the family was living in Paris, and my father was traveling all over Europe, administering a junior year abroad program. Mm-hmm. And half of his students were in Spain. And on one of his trips to Spain, he bought a guitar in Valencia and brought it back, and I was thrilled. Of course,
wow.
But later on, when I didn't graduate from college, and those early years of not so successful music endeavor, he wondered,
what the heck did he do, right?
What have I done? Yeah.
And you were going to follow in his footsteps and be an anthropologist?
That's right. Yeah, I was. I'm still really, really interested in anthropology and cultural anthropology.
Hey, it's never too late, so.
No, well, it's getting there.
Never say that, never.
Okay.
So your influences, of course, are the blues.
Yeah.
Lightning Hopkins, a big thing. When you got that guitar at 12, what were you playing? Because, I mean, obviously no internet,
Oh
none
well.
of that. Like, what were you listening to?
I was just singing songs that I had learned from, my parents had, some folk music records from the 40s.
Mm.
And so I knew a lot of Burl Ives songs and the Weavers and people like that.
Oh, nice.
So, and I also knew, let's see, I had started sort of listening to radio about that time, and we're talking early days of rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
And I got, I sort of had leanings that way. I didn't understand quite how far I was going to go in that direction at the time, though. But I was just feeling my way around the guitar, learning what you could do with 3 chords and trying to learn some more.
Did you ever have lessons, or are you completely self-taught?
Well, I've never had any formal lessons,
Mm-hmm.
I learned the way a lot of guys and a lot of gals too learn just by hanging around with people and watching, what happens, and then, you wind up in rooms where 3 or 4 people are playing and you watch what everybody else is doing, and then you say, what was that you were just doing? And they show you something new, and just like that. And, I remember the first time I ever saw somebody fingerpick, like syncopated fingerpicking. I would hear syncopated fingerpicking on records and just assumed that there were 2 people playing. I
Ah.
didn't understand how it was done, and then somebody said, well, look, just keep your thumb moving and do this and do that and do the,
And you'll
so,
figure it out. I
yeah,
loved this story that I heard, which I hope you share with our listeners. You
yeah,
you wind up moving to Boston, but you stopped around, I think, New York City, and before that, you even went to Sarasota. Tell me and
yes.
tell us all, please, about
Uh,
why you went to
well,
Sarasota.
Sarasota, I went before I started the trip north. I took one trip over to Sarasota because I had a friend in college who was also into this kind of music, and by this time, I'd gotten several more guitars, and I was deeply into blues and starting to listen to the whole singer-songwriter scene that was happening in New York and Boston and Cambridge. And one of the most important figures in the Cambridge, Massachusetts scene was Eric von Schmidt. And this friend of mine who was from Sarasota said, he spends his whole winters in Sarasota. He's got a house there. And why don't you, we had a summer vacation coming up. He says, come on over. I bet you we can meet him. And so we drove over there, and I found his number in the phone book, and I just called him up. It was nuts, He says, and he was just as nice as he could be. Told him I was a big fan, and I was a guitar player, and I was in town, and I would love to meet him. And he said, well, come on over. And I went over, and he greeted us at the door, invited us in. There was a whole raft of people over there, and all of them, excuse me, all of them were on records that I had heard. I mean, that Jim Queskin was there, Maria Muldaur and Jeff Muldaur were there, and all this stuff going
That's
on. Anyway,
insane. And you walked in and you're just like, what? Oh my God. I can't even
well,
imagine.
you've never seen anybody so wide-eyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was flabbergasted, but I was delighted. Yeah, and they were all sitting around playing guitars and singing songs and stuff.
And you
They asked
played
me to
with
play
them that
something.
day?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that led to me coming up to the Northeast because Eric was, he really liked what I was doing.
And
Except
And
New York and let people hear you,
you're right,
And
right.
he said, "Where are you living?" I said, "New Orleans." And he said, "Well, nobody's going to hear you there."
Unless you're a trumpet or a brass player, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
Or keyboards,
yeah.
that was. But yeah, so it was 6 months later. I think I took off and wound up in Cambridge.
Beautiful. And tell this story. The first time you're in that very famous club, Club Passum, I believe. Who's
Yeah,
playing there?
right. It was the Club 47,
Okay.
and that was Mecca. I mean, that was where you had to make the pilgrimage. So the first place that I went when I got to Cambridge was Club 47, and there was this guy at the front door taking money. I didn't have much money,
Right, you're
but
right.
I looked at the sign outside to see who was playing, and it was Eric. Eric von Schmidt was playing. I had no idea. I mean, that's just pure serendipity. And the guy at the door turned out to be Jim Rooney, who's is still in the music business and has been intimately involved in production and all that stuff for decades. But I just told him. I said, told him my name. I said I'm from Louisiana, and I'm a friend of Eric von Schmidt's, and he told me I should drop by and look for either him or Rooney,
Uh-huh.
a guy named Rooney. And he said, "Well, I'm Jim Rooney."
Ah, oh,
I
man.
I said hi, and he said, "Well, Eric's in the back. Go ahead in." So I went in, and Eric was there, and he looked up and he went, "Chris, what are you doing here?" I said, "Well, you told me to come."
Oh, my
you know,
God.
so basically, to me at the time that was like that was a commandment from God. I was going to go. I
Right.
think he might have felt a little alarmed that I had taken him right at his word and dropped all my business because, but yeah, but he said, "Well, listen," he says, "You got your guitar?" And I said, "Well, of course, and he says, "Why don't you go on stage, play like 3 songs before I do my
Wow.
next set." And
Wow.
so my first night in Cambridge, I was playing at the Club 47, 3 songs, and I thought my fortune is made. But I never played there again for another 2 or 3 years. But
Wow. Wow. Talk about serendipitous, though. That really is, I love
yeah,
that
that was
story.
amazing.
When I heard that, I'm like, what? Talk about stars aligning, man. That they did for you that day.
They did, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Now, did
Crazy.
the city, New York City, I'm talking about, obviously the
Yeah,
big Greenwich Village, the folk scene, Happy Traum, Pete
yeah.
Seeger, all of, the Dylan, everybody down there. Were you there? Or were you mostly in Cambridge? Did you do the New York City stop?
I New York City and Cambridge were sort of worlds apart. I mean, not really. Everybody involved in those scenes knew that they were very similar musically, but they were somehow philosophically like there was the Cambridge crowd and then there was the New York crowd, and seldom did they mix, But
Mm-hmm.
I got down there and I played in the city, but to tell you the truth, New York scared me.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
it was, and it seemed forbidding in a way, and Cambridge is like a big university campus, and I grew up on a campus, and so that was like home to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That felt right.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was.
Well, it's a
But
smaller
no,
city. It's yeah. It's a
I
lot.
was in the city enough to meet all these people, and meet them, but it was more. I wasn't intimately involved in the scene the way I happened in Boston.
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. No, it's really cool. Um, do you remember your first recording session?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I was for a real record. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. That was on Poppy Records, and we recorded at Studio A in RCA.
Wow.
They were distributed by RCA at the time, and um, I was scared to death. I had my good friend John Bailey playing the second guitar and a few little guitar leads and stuff, and we'd worked out arrangements for all these songs. And I cannot remember the drummer's name,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but the bass player that they brought in was Richard Davis.
Wow.
and
Wow.
and And that was a name that I knew. I
Right.
knew that he was a big shot jazz, very, pretty famous
Right. Right.
jazz player. I've got a great story about him. You want to hear it? It happened that
Please.
time.
Yeah,
This section.
absolutely. Sure.
Because I was like I told you before. I don't really have a lot of formal training in music, and I know a lot more now than I did then. But I was playing this little song. We were running one song down, and then we took a break. I think somebody wanted to listen to something and see what was going on, and so Richard comes over to me and he says, "Listen," he says, "on this tune that we're working on now, there's that little coda. I can't really figure out what you're doing there. Could you show me that?" He says, "Your buddy doesn't seem to have any trouble with it, but I can't figure it out." And I said, "Well, he's been playing it for 4 years." But I said, "Well, I'll try to help you." And I was just nervous, I was just a
Right.
kid, and I said, "I'll try to help you," but I didn't want to admit that I didn't know what a coda was,
Mm-hmm.
but I said, "Now, which part are you talking about?" And he said, "Oh, that part that comes after the verse here." I said, "Well, I'll try to help you out. I don't really understand a lot. I don't really know much about music." And he looked up at me and he put his hand out. We were both sitting on chairs, and he put his hand out and he patted me on the knee and he said, "Oh," he says, "don't say that." He said, "You know a great deal about music." He
That's
says,
right.
You just don't know how to talk about it." and
Ah.
it was,
Uh-huh.
and it was the most comforting, reassuring thing he could have possibly said to me. And
Yeah.
I've never, ever forgotten it.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes absolute sense. Do you remember the first song that you wrote? Of course you do.
Yes, I do. It was called uh, it was Devil Got Your Man.
Mm. And of course it made it to an album.
Yes, it did. It made it to the album, and it also is the first song on the 50-year retrospective that we recorded, like almost 10 years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 50. Now you're going into 60. 60 years of performing. Incredible. And how do you, everybody has a different process of songwriting. Some people, it's just like, okay, I do it religiously every day from 1 to 2 p.m. Other people, it's just, when it comes to you, you write it down. Are you old school? Do you sit with the guitar or on a piano? Or how do you write?
it's a fairly, it's turned into a fairly predictable process for me now. I don't write continuously. I write for projects.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to make a new record, I say, okay, I can probably come up with enough songs in about 9 months. Something like that,
Mm-hmm.
9, 10 months,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and I start off usually. The only thing that I collect in advance or continually collect are sort of little guitar ideas, riffs,
Mm-hmm.
and little runs and chord progressions that might work, rhythmic ideas, and so gradually, I work until I've got a good handful of various sort of melody ideas, and then I just start, not melody ideas, but just rhythmic, harmonic rhythms. I just play progressions and throw in little ideas and so forth until I've got sort of a form. And then I just start singing. I start scat singing against it, trying to find a melody
Uh-huh.
that'll work against that. And when I get something like that, I just start mumbling nonsense syllables, really.
Mm-hmm.
And gradually it doesn't really mean anything, but it shows me where the rhymes are going to fall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with luck, it just proceeds from there. But usually, it takes it takes a lot of effort, especially to get started. To get the first one done, it's
Yeah.
really hard.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. But it somehow comes together for you because you got 20 albums under your belt. That's
that's right.
that's a pretty great discography. Also, talk to me about your thoughts of Bob Dylan's songwriting and him coming up during that era, same kind of time as you. When did you first hear about him?
Uh, well, I was pretty familiar with Bob Dylan before I left New Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
and I was, I was listening to Joan Baez and all the whole folk scare thing, and actually, way before them, I'd gotten into the Kingston Trio and all the commercial folk stuff.
Wow.
But I was already trying to dig past that. But Dylan to me was an inspiration, not so much in what he did, but the whole concept that you could write your own songs. That was a novel idea to me. That was before I'd left New Orleans, and so I started trying to write songs just to see what that was like. And once I got up to the Northeast and started playing places, I realized that there were two kinds of performers. There were performers who were doing standard stuff, just doing covers, and then there were the ones that were writing songs, and the only ones that were getting anywhere were the ones who were writing songs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, well, I better buckle down and do this. I have nothing but admiration for Bob Dylan, especially, he is so productive. I cannot believe the volume of songs.
Right.
Because, and a lot of them he throws away. I don't throw away a thing. he writes 100 and he keeps 10.
Wow.
I write 10 and I keep 10.
Yeah. Wow. Have you seen him perform live lately, or?
I saw him about, I think 3 or 4 years ago, just before the pandemic, at the Beacon Theater. He did a residency there, like 7 shows,
Yep.
7 nights. And I was there for one of those, and I thought it was a wonderful show.
Yeah, that's right. Really cool, really cool. And also some books. You've also kind of authored some books.
Well, not really books. I've got a book of lyrics out.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little dated by this time because there's 2 whole albums worth of material.
There's volume 1 and volume 2. That's and this
that's
I think.
What we're gonna need.
Yeah, this is the Chris Smithers
and then,
songbook.
I've written a couple of short stories and some essay things for books and collections of essays and stuff. But
Yeah.
I have yet to write a whole book.
Is it coming?
Well, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to promise anything.
I know you're friends with Jorma Kaukonen, as am I, and he comes on to my show numerous times a year, and he wrote such a wonderful biography a few years back, and every time I have him on, I was like, Jorma, you got another one coming up? Because, on his website, he does a blog and all of that, and I don't know, it's like... It's really cool to do that. So anyway, I hope that you consider it, and maybe we'll see like an autobiography. I'm sure you have some really great stories to share with people.
Well, I've got an awful lot of stories, and I have been writing those stories down, so maybe I'll put them all together.
That'd be so great, Chris. Man, I tell you, come back when you have that done, please, please, please.
Okay.
Some of your songs, like Slow Surprise, also part of the movie soundtracks, The Horse Whisperer. And also Brother's Shadow, and then a couple of your songs, Hold On, also Drive You Home Again. That's pretty cool to hear. What's it like? Like, did you write the songs for the film, or just already had the songs out and they found them?
No, I had the songs out and they found them. I've never written a song for a project like that.
Right.
Intentionally for a project.
So the first time you see the film with your score, it's like, hey, this is me. That's pretty cool.
Well, sometimes I don't even hear it. At one point there was one TV show that used it, and then it was an Australian show that wound up getting syndicated, I think, in the States as well. And somebody from Australia wrote me and said, they're using your songs on this TV show, and I didn't know a thing about it. So I got on the phone right away, and the publishers contacted them. They made me a lot of money.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least somebody told you about it. If you didn't know about it, you wouldn't have had it. So,
that's pretty common in this business.
Yeah, I guess it is. But I guess it must be a little harder now with internet and all of that. Or no? It is.
Yeah,
to get away.
everything, news travels so fast.
Yeah. It's all like out there, right at the fingertips. Do you have favorite songs of yours?
Well, yes and no. They're like my children. You're not supposed to have favorite children, and but there are some that I look at and say, yeah, for the time that I wrote that, that was about the best I could do. I think,
Uh-huh.
but it changes, in a way. And then there are some that surprise me in a way. I get away from them and I forget,
Yeah.
and then I'll go back and listen and say, that was a good song, and I'll resurrect it and start putting it back in the set. And, but there are some perennial favorites that people are always glad to hear. In terms of the audience, has some definite favorites.
Oh yeah. Oh
And those, "Love You Like a Man" and "No Love Today," "Leave the Light On." Those are all songs that people train home. They don't get tired of those.
Everybody wants to hear him every single one of your show. And to have jazz great Diana Krall and one of my faves, Bonnie Raitt, cover "Love Me Like a Man." Man, tell me about your
Oh, well, that was.
relationship with Bonnie.
Well, Bonnie and I have been friends since before either one of us ever made any records.
Is that right? How'd you all meet?
Oh yeah. She, when I was in Cambridge in the early days, one of the most important people on the scene was Dick Waterman, and Dick Waterman worked with all the early blues guys. And we used to go over to his house all the time because you never knew who was going to be staying there. Sometimes Funhouse would be there, Skip James, all these the guys who invented the music essentially. And Dick Waterman had this redheaded girlfriend.
Wow.
His name was Bonnie, and I'm ashamed to tell you that I knew her for at least 3 years before I knew that she played guitar.
Oh my God. Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. She went to school right here in Poughkeepsie, New York, which is where I'm talking to you from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So she's got some
At
ties.
Vassar? Is that Vassar?
I'm talking to you from Vassar, but she went to like before Vassar, like elementary school or something. She went to Oakwood Friends
Oh, I
School,
see. Yeah,
which
because I
was,
think she's a Cliffy, isn't she?
yeah, a Quaker. It was a Quaker school that she went to.
No, but when she went to college, she went to
Cliff.
Cliffy,
Yes.
Radcliffe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Radcliffe. Yeah. No, she didn't come here to Vassar, but she did some time here in Poughkeepsie anyway. So, yeah, pretty cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
But
that's
we've
great.
been friends ever since. And
And
I owe her a great deal. I mean, the the fact that she did two of my songs on one of her early records is, back when things weren't quite as comfortable as they are now, it made all the difference in my economic picture for sure.
yeah. And tell us the story of how she asked you to, can I use your music?
She didn't ask.
Yeah, please do that.
No, she called me up. It must have been 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Correct. She's got this kind of raucous voice on the telephone. She was calling me from Minnesota. She was in Minneapolis recording an album, and she said, "We're going to do your song, man." And I said, "Which song?" And she said, "Love You Like a Man." And I want to do that. I want to record it. And I said, "That's fine with me." I said, "You want me to rewrite it so that, from a woman's perspective?" And she said, "I already did it." I just wanted to tell you. And I said, "Well, that's great."
Right. Yeah. Thanks for doing that. That's awesome.
Thanks
That's
for
awesome.
doing that. Yeah.
And then how about Diana Krall? She got wind of it and did it
Yeah, that was years and
years
years
later. Yeah.
and I had nothing to do. I've never met Diana Krall,
Is that right?
but I knew that she did the song, and certainly, as songwriters will tell you, a lot of songwriters will tell you the first that they knew about it was when the check got to the mailbox, and that's pretty. But I knew that before then because somebody had told me. I forget who told. I can't remember how I found out about that, but And then when when that record came out, that she had that on, they had her on the Today Show. I remember I got up pretty early because I wanted to see her, and she. I thought maybe she'll do the song, and then she didn't.
Oh.
and it went, the whole show went on, and then at the very end of the show, they brought her back, and they said, well, we're going to have Diana's going to do us one more song, and she said, I forget who the female host was, and she said, so this is an old Bonnie Raitt song, and I will love, even if I never meet her, I will love her forever for this, because she looked right back and she said, no, this is a Chris Smithers song.
All right.
And she sat down and she played Love You Like a Man.
Oh, that's so great. And at least you you actually heard her say that and do it.
I saw her and heard her say that.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. That's so great. That's so great. And Chris, now your 20th album, man, all about the bones. You've got 2 tracks already out, which we're going to play after we talk. We have the title track and down in, tell me again, Thibodeau?
Thibodeau.
Right.
Thibodeau.
Tell me about making this. This was recorded in your neck of the woods where you're living, up in Massachusetts.
Yeah, not far. It's only like a 20-minute drive from my house to get over to the studio, and we had a wonderful time. I mean, David Goodrich, my producer, is he's intimately involved in almost everything that I do, and he knows how to. Because I got stuck on this album, I was really stuck for writing songs. I had a lot of tunes, a lot of guitar ideas and stuff, but the lyrics just weren't happening. And there's something about him. He lives down in Texas, in Austin now, but he said, I'm coming up, and he came up a couple of times, and just sat with me. And there's something about having him in the room. I don't know what it is, but everybody needs to find somebody like that.
He's like an inspiration for you.
Yeah. We just have these long conversations, and some of them were just talking, and some of them were musical conversations, and then we would just start working on things, and it would just come to me. The third song on the album, when it drops, you'll hear it. It's called "Still Believe in You," and he really essentially wrote the tune for that. The guitar part, and because he thought it sounded like a Chris Smithers sort of arrangement, and he was right. And he showed it to me, and I essentially wound up playing it almost exactly the way he had laid it out. Very little change and a little sort of rhythmic change to it, but not much. And then we were sitting around and we worked on it for about a half an hour, and he said, okay, you got it. There you go. Now all you got to do is just write the song. He says, come on. And he was getting ready to leave for the day. And he looked up at me and he said, you can do it. And he says, I still believe in you. And then he said, that's your prompt. And he left, and I wrote the song, and it's called Still Believe in You.
And Goody's been working with you for a long time. How'd you two meet?
We met through Peter Mulvey. Originally, and then I met him because he was working when he was just out of college, and he was well, actually, no. He was out of Berklee School of Music, but he was working at the Music Emporium in Lexington, Mass. It's a very high-end music store. They got some wonderful guitars in there.
It's a candy shop for you, huh?
Yeah, and I met him there, and he'd been to a couple of my shows, I think. Well, I didn't even know that at the time. He told me that later. He'd been to a couple of the shows. And then Peter Mulvey, who was a very good friend of mine and that I met several years before at times, he told me, I was sort of between producers, and he said, you should get Goody to produce you. And Goody had already produced one of Peter's records, I think. And he says, Goody really digs your stuff, and I think he understands it in a way that you would really appreciate. And so I decided, I said, "Do you want to do this?" And he said, "Yeah, you did." And we've
And
been doing it ever since.
doing it ever since. Speaking of Peter Mulvey, you got a couple of shows coming up with him. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, at
yeah.
Levon's here in Woodstock. Tell me about your relationship to Woodstock. Obviously, you're friends with Happy Traum in our neck of the woods
Yeah, I'm
here.
friends with Happy. I can't exactly remember how I met Happy in the first place, but we've been good friends since the '60s. And my second album on Poppy, I recorded at Bearsville in Woodstock,
Wow.
and just it's not so much the town itself; it's just the people who live there. I've met and associated with over the years, and I don't have a real tight relationship with the town itself. In fact, I worked with Happy for. I did a couple of instructional videos with him, for his
For
homespun
Homespun. Yeah. Yep.
lessons, and he's just always been you know him probably.
Oh
He's a
yeah.
great guy.
Oh,
He's
he is a
just a
great
wonderful
guy.
person.
He really truly is. He's remarkable and he's such a gift and such a talent. Every time I have him on, I just let him talk and it's like getting a lesson in folk history just listening to him
Oh
talk.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And what about Levon Helm? Did you know him?
I only met Levon once,
Mm-hmm.
and actually I was in Woodstock at one point and staying at. It was when I was doing one of the videos for Happy, and he said, "Let's go over to let's go over to the barn." And I said, "What barn?" And he said, "Levon's barn. They got the midnight ramble going on over there,
Oh,
And that was
nice.
when I was introduced to that whole thing that was going on. I remember there's a sort of a loft up above the
Yes,
stage,
yes.
and Goody and I were not Goody, Happy and I were up there looking down. I forget who was actually playing, but Levon was on. Well, he played a lot of things, but he was on drums that night, and I forget who was playing, but the place was absolutely packed. And the thing that impressed me the most about it was that there were people from all over the world there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
It was like such an attraction, and I thought to myself, isn't that something? I just walked in, and I'm sitting in a place that there are thousands and thousands of people who would give anything to be
To
here
be
right
right there in that moment. Yeah, for those,
now.
oh man, legendary shows there, that's for sure. Those
Yeah,
last 10 years of Levon's life were like, talk about a resurrection. Oh my gosh, man. Three
yeah,
Grammys, the whole thing. It just,
sure.
yeah, no, it's something. And it's so cool now, Chris. You're going to be playing at Levon Helm Studios on May 31st.
That's right. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I can't wait. Amy, his daughter,
yeah,
was when she had Ola Bell, when she was in the group Ola Bell, was
yeah.
on
Was on your record.
uh, my record.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I heard them singing. I said, "Oh, I got to get these people."
They just played a show. Ola Bell just got together and played a show. I don't know, maybe a month ago, at
Yeah.
Levon's. Yeah. So
Oh,
hopefully,
really? That's
yeah,
great.
hopefully they'll get a
Because
few more going because they're amazing.
yeah, and her keyboard guy in Ola Bell is playing for Bonnie now.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, Greg.
Wow! Wow!
Greg's playing with Bonnie's band.
It's just
Yeah,
such a small world sometimes, you know.
I
It
know.
it really really is. And when you're at Levon's, you got Peter Mulvey playing with you too. You're going to be down in the city at the Iridium and a whole bunch of other dates. Of course, people can check out
Yeah.
your website and again smither.com to check out where you're playing and all of that. But this new album, All About the Bones, release date May 3rd. Yeah. I'm old school. I don't like Spotify or anything. I actually like CDs and vinyl and that kind of a thing. So I'm guessing all of that's happening to this release.
I'm sorry, I lost you there for
Oh
a second.
yeah, no problem. I'm guessing this is out on CD. Is this going to be out on vinyl too?
Oh
All
yeah.
About the Bone. Yeah.
Well, if we ever find some vinyl, it will be out on vinyl.
In big demand. In big demand.
Vinyl.
Chris, you have a couple of dates coming up also in April in Maryland on the 12th. Not far away. You'll be in Elkton, Maryland, You're also going to be in Jersey at Blairstown on the 13th, Tuckerton, New Jersey on the 14th, up in Concord, New Hampshire, Brownsville, Maine, and Brunswick, Maine. And then your album drops, and then you're going to do some more dates. You're a busy guy.
Okay, busy year.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. But we're really looking forward to having you here in the Hudson Valley, down in New York at the Iridium, and all of that. Look forward to hearing this whole new album. We're going to play 2 tracks now. If you would just talk about the name of the album, All About the Bones. We're going to listen to the title track. Tell me about that, please.
All About the Bones. Well, that was another one I was working on with Goody, and we just started riffing, on the little guitar figure that opens that song and plays all the way through it. And he said, "Sing something." and that's what popped out of my mouth. Was All About the Bones. Then gradually, over the next 3 days, I just wrote the song, and when it came time to name the album, I realized that was as good a title as any, because it's the core of the structure. It's what holds everything together. Is the bones.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. I really like it. Beautiful cover of you as well, and I wish you the best of luck with it. And thank you, Chris, for all your really insightful, beautiful music that you've given us all over 6 decades. And
you're welcome.
yeah, man, it's
Thank
just
you.
some really good songwriting, the real deal. And tell me about that foot pad thing that you got going on. That little.
Oh, it's just
When did that
I
start?
learned a long time ago that the sound of my feet tapping is kind of integral to the way that I interpret the songs, and other people have to hear it too. So I mic my feet when I play.
I like that. You have that little board with you and all of that. So, yeah. Well, we look forward to having you back here in the Hudson Valley and in the city and all over the place. I mean, and people can check out your website and buy the CD or the vinyl when it comes out. All About the Bones, release date May 3rd on Signature Sounds. Mighty Albert. And thank you so much, sir, for your time here today. It's been a true honor hosting you on the show. And hey, maybe I'll see you in Woodstock.
I hope so.
Yeah, hope so too. Chris, thank you for your time. Stay well, be well, and we'll talk to you next time.
You're very welcome.
Okay,
Thanks. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. I had met Chris Smither at Maverick Concerts last September, one of the last concerts of the season, and Happy Traum plays that concert venue every single year. And the surprise guest was Chris Smither. And Chris I don't think he sat in with Happy. I think he just kind of did a couple of tracks of his own music. And it was so cool. And I asked Happy, I was like, should I have Chris on my show? He's like, yes, you should. So he introduced me to Chris. And lo and behold, Chris has this new album coming out. And it was truly an honor having him here on the show today. Chris Smither, his website, smither.com. The new 20th album coming out May 3rd called All About the Bones. And let's listen to the title track right here, right now on 91.3 WVKR.
Consider your high station. Think about your fame. All of your creation depending on your fame. Ain't no doubt about it. Flesh can set the tone, but when you get down to the rhythm, man, you get right down to the bone. All about the bones, all about the bones, all about the bones, all about the bones. Some will make you stronger, others make you tall. But don't make no bones about it, man. They got some don't work at all. Some will make you ugly, others make you smile. It don't matter, they all clatter, yeah, when they end up on the pile. It's all about the bones, all about the bones, all about the bones, all about the bones. Grim Reaper comes calling, says it's time to go. You say, okay, I'm coming, yeah, you're moving mighty slow. And you say, I don't belong here. You told me I was saved. He points one bony finger, he says, get back in your grave. It's all about the bones, all about the bones, all about the bones, all about the bones. Now down at the graveyard, you got your handsome stone with your names and all your numbers, yeah, but there ain't nobody home. It says here lies the body, body there be none. Used to be somebody, now it's nothing but the bones. It's all about the bones, all about the bones, all about the bones, all about the bones. The bones, all about the bones, the bones. Right from the beginning, it was all about the bones. Out west of New Orleans, out along a slow-moving bayou. They got a fishing camp I go to see the oldest friend I know. They call him Boudreaux. If you ever go and see him, something you should know. You'll never get there walking, hear me talking. You gonna need a bateau. Down into the door. Yeah, when you get there, he'll be waiting with a fiddle made by Satan and a wicked bow. He will show you how to play it just as quick as you can say, that's what I want to know. Don't bring him any money, bring him beer instead. He looks a little strange, that ain't a possum on his head, that's a chapeau. Down into the door. He'll be drinking beer by noon. He'll be smoking picayune and stomping on the floor. Not right away, but pretty soon you'll be picking out a tune. He'll say, I told you so. He'll say, just listen, let me show you, get this through your head. And I guarantee by Sunday you will knock them dead down at that fake old door. Down into the door. He'll say you're gonna be a star, you will drive a fancy car, you'll be spending free. And when you're having all your fun and your song is number one, you better think of me. Cause no matter how big you get or far you go, there's still someone who knew you back when you were just a silly little crapo. From down into the door. Down into the door.
Down, way down.
Down into the door. All these men you've been seeing, they got their balls up on the shelf. And you know they could never love you, baby. They can't even love themselves. You need someone who can. I could be, you know, I could be your lover man. Come on, believe me when I tell you I love you like a man. 'Cause I've never seen such losers, I'll bet you never tried to find a man that could take you home, never taking you for a ride. If you need someone who can, I bet I could be your lover man. Come on, believe me when I tell you I love you like a man. Yeah, you coming home sad, you laying down to cry. What you need is a man to hold you, not some fool to ask you why. And yeah, you know you need someone who can. Come on, believe me when I tell you I love you like a man. Yeah, 'cause they all want you to rock them like their back ain't got no bone. What you need is a man that can rock you like your backbone was his own. You need someone who can. I think I could be your lover man. Come on, believe me when I tell you I love you like a man. Yes, 'cause all these men that you've been seeing got their balls up on the shelves. And you know they can never love you, baby. They can't even love themselves. You need someone who can. And I think I know I could be your lover man. Believe me when I tell you I love you like I love you like I love you like a man.
Oh, yeah. 91.3 WVKR, Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. Chris Smither, the album Still on the Levee, which was his 50-year retrospective album released 10 years ago. We heard the track Love You Like a Man, which was a track that we talked about during our interview that Bonnie Raitt had covered, as well as Diana Krall. We also heard two new tracks from Chris Smither's new album titled All About the Bones. We heard Down in Tubido, and we heard the title track, All About the Bones. This album is due out May 3rd, and it's his 20th album. Been playing music for over 60 years. He'll be in our area on May 31st at Levon Helm Studios in Woodstock, and he'll be in the city, New York City, that is, at the Iridium on June 7th. And both of those shows will be with his buddy Peter Mulvey. Tickets available, levonhelm.com, and also check out Smither.com for more info. And if you missed part of that interview or just tuning in now, that was a good one. First time guest, Mr. Chris Smither. We dedicated the 4 o'clock hour to his incredible, legendary career. And if you missed that interview, I'll be uploading it tonight on the YouTube channel as well as Spotify and all that other stuff. Just follow and subscribe to LocalMotion on 91.3 WVKR. And it is 5:02 p.m. We are broadcasting live from the beautiful campus here at Vassar College. I am your host, Rita Ryan, here each and every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m., bringing you music of the Hudson Valley. That's what this show is all about. And thank you to Chris Smither for his time on the show today. That was a real joy and a real honor. And every hour that we're here that we don't have a guest, we start off by paying tribute to the late Tony Falco. He left many things, one of them being a really cool Spotify playlist, actually two of them, and I'm still on playlist number 1, and every week I play a track from that in the order that he uploaded it. So I'm still learning and still listening to new music because of Tony. Tony passed away October 27th of 2019. 21. And Lee Falco, his son, is still running that beautiful place, the Falcon in Marlborough. And please go support that and all the other great music venues that we have here in the Hudson Valley. Lee Falco will be my guest on the show in 2 weeks. So, so we'll talk more about all of that. But I'm going to play this track. And by the way, this is show number 399 today on these airwaves. So next week is a big milestone for us here. Let's start off this again from Tony Falco's playlist here on 91.3 WVKR. This is by the artist Lorcan O'Reilly.
As the days cool down, firewood piled high under tarps tied down, heavy stones in the ground. As the days cool down, and in the yard the leaves play around the tables I have made, and the children gather sticks for to build out in the thick as the days cool down. Mother calls the ravens three, while temptation, doubt, and greed, and with heavy hearts they sing, hear harmony begin as the days cool down. Now the foreman's cutting my sight. If I turn, I'll come untied. Says he feels the debt I'm in. Says he'll work me till the end when my days cool down. So I strap my handles down and throw my weight behind the plow. Heaven knows the path is set. See the fields bend and stretch as the days cool down. And as the days cool down, firewood piled high under tarps tied down, heavy stones in the ground as the days cool down.
Na 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 It is the middle of the night, right in the middle of the street. It could be uptown, downtown, but I can feel that beat. There is a marching drum, there is a song unsung. It could be your dream, my dream. It's not the only one. I'm a soldier marching in an army. Got no gun to shoot, but what I got is one guitar. I got this one guitar. I see the rising smoke, I hear a heartbreak joke. Hey, all my brothers So if you get knocked down, you gotta take a stand for all the outcasts dead last who need a helping hand. So get your tambourines and turn your amps up loud and raise your voices, voices up above this crowd. 'Cause I'm a soldier marching in an army, got no gun to shoot, but what I got is one guitar. I got this one guitar. I'm a soldier marching in an army, got no gun to shoot, but what I got is one guitar. I got this one guitar. Then it goes na 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 na
.3 WVKR, the great Willie Nile, One Guitar, the album The Innocent Ones. And what an extraordinary songwriter he also is. I've had him on the show a few times. There was a quote from, I don't know where, but somebody said, quote, New Jersey has Springsteen and New York has Willie Nile. Because Willie Nile is from Buffalo and has played all over the world. He'll be at the Falcon in Marlboro this Saturday. Just a really captivating presence on stage. And truly, he's played with Bruce Springsteen and extraordinary songwriter. Just absolutely. If you're not familiar with Willie Nile, man, look him up. He's the real deal. He'll be at the Falcon this Saturday. You don't need tickets to go to the Falcon. It is all done by donation. So all you should do is just make a reservation if you plan on going. And you can do that by giving them a call or by going to the website at liveatthefalcon.com. Willie Nile there this Saturday. Getting us started was Lorcan O'Reilly, When the Days Cooled Down, and that was from Tony Falco's playlist. And that's how we start off each and every hour here where we don't have a guest. So that's what we do. It's 5:12. I'm your host, Rita Ryan, here each and every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. This gentleman, he'll be at the Falcon at the end of June and on the show here as well. But closer to that, tomorrow, he'll be at Uncle Chief, really cool place in Brewster, New York. Let's take a listen to Chris Berkson here on 91.3.
Slacking, missing shit, but I'm on it, working overtime to make sure nothing is missed, chasing paper bags, running down my list. catch me slacking, missing shit. But I'm on it.
Yes, that's the way it's done, ladies and gentlemen. Bruce Katz, the album Solo Ride. We heard the track Down at the Barrel House. Great. We just heard two great blues artists, one of them being Bruce Katz. He'll be at Town Crier in Beacon this Friday night. Tickets available to see Bruce Katz at towncrier.com, and that's town spelled with an E, crier.com, to see Bruce Katz. Always puts on a great show. We also heard Chris Berkson. His release was called Bitter Midnight, and the track we heard was 61st and First. He'll be at Uncle Chief in Brewster tomorrow night. Tickets at unclechief.com. Chris Berkson will be a guest here on the show in June. He's got a new album coming out, and he'll be at the Falcon in Marlborough in June. So we'll be talking to him soon enough. We look forward to having Chris back on the show. The next two artists we'll be listening to are performing together this Friday night, and I'm really looking forward to these guys and their show. Let's take a listen. Let's start it off. Ladies first with Simi Stone here on 91.3.
Loneliness has a hold, and it's one that I found never grows cold. These people we see every day, they might be more than you think, have something to say. Nice to see you again. Hey, let's talk. I don't even know your name or where you come from. All of the people that are around us. All of the people, all of the time, working like crazy just to survive. We've been hit hard, ran out of luck. A bad attitude can get you locked up. Give it away, give it away. When the future just doesn't seem bright, you gotta lay low and get through the night. 'Cause there will be sunshine and there will be stars. We got a long way to go, but this time is ours. Nice to see you again. Hey, let's talk. I don't even know your name or where you come from. All of the people that are around us. All of the people, all of the time, they're working like crazy just to survive. We've been hit hard, ran out of luck. A bad attitude can get you locked up. Give it away, just give it away. I never noticed you. I wonder if you notice me. All our souls are intertwined. Everybody has a mind. Every one of us needs a little love when you pass us by. It's okay to see yourself in somebody else's eyes. All of the people, all of the time, working like crazy just to survive. We've been hit hard, ran out of luck. A bad attitude can get you locked up. Give it away, just give it away. Your love, just give it away. Just give it away.
In the shade of a Mexican courtyard, drawings and paintings are tossed about. Monkeys and thorns and tears of conquest. In the shade of a Mexican courtyard, drawings and paintings are tossed about. Monkeys and thorns and tears of conquest. Jesus in God, there is no doubt. Frida Kay in your fancy white dresses, the fire that burns, don't you agree? Not sure how I'll do or who I'll thank, the river heart or memory. Do you fall in love? Frida Kahlo, I love you more than my own skin. You make me forget my past. This time I know it will last when I give you my heart. I give you my heart. Do you fall in love? Frida Kahlo, I love you more than my own skin. You make me forget my past. This time I know it will last when I give you my heart. She said, I paint myself, I'm alone now. I choose to paint what I know best. I'm done with betrayal. I've cut my hair off. I'll pray all live easy, I must confess. Senora, it's a bright and beautiful garden. Magnolias bloom in curious ways. My ears are wide open if you invite me. We'll paint and we'll sing for the rest of our days. Do you fall in love? Frida Kahlo, I love you more than my own skin. You make me forget my past. This time I know it will last. Maybe it's time that I ask, shall I give you my heart? I'll give you my heart. I'll give you my heart. I'll give you my heart.
91.3 WVKR. Jack Petroselli. Frida is the name of the track. Frida Kahlo, of course, the Mexican artist. Jack Petroselli was a guest here on the show a few months back. He was the last guest of 2023 here on LocalMotion. What a talent. Co-founder of the incredible Beatles tribute band, the Fab Four. Also plays with Joan Osborne. Played with Patti Smith. Jack Petroselli. Amazing musician. We're lucky to have him here in the Hudson Valley. And we heard Simi Stone, her self-titled release. We heard the track called All of the People. So Simi and Jack are getting together and playing some music for the people this Friday night at the Local in Saugerties. Simi Stone will be joined by Jack Petroselli on guitar and vocals, and also by Will Bryant on piano, and incredible drummer Zach Elford will be joining. What an ensemble this is going to be. Friday night at the Local in Saugerties. I don't know if tickets are available, but you can always check by going to thelocalsocrates.com. Great show with Simi Stone, Jack Petroselli, Will Bryant, and Zach Alford this Friday night. Hope to see some of you there. I'm your host, Rita Ryan, here from 4 to 6 each and every Wednesday. It is 5:30. We've got a little bit more time left for you on this show. Today, we've got some great music still ahead of us. So let's start off with this brand new track from a brand new album, and we'll talk way more about them after we take a listen to this newest music by Larry Campbell and Teresa Williams here on 91.3.
Ride with me. I'm loving your company. Can't tell you where we're gonna go. We don't need to know right now. Baby, please ride with me. I'll take you down the back roads and winding valleys where the early morning mountain mist will wrap us in its arms and fade to the warmth of the rising sun. Won't you ride with me? Don't think about have to be. Let the trail lead us away. Leave the everyday behind. Baby, just ride with me. We can run beside the calm and raging river as it travels on its lonely way to meet the open sea, united at last eternally. Won't you ride with me? Let the wind blow your spirit free. Can't say how far we gonna go. We don't need to know right now. Baby, just ride with me. How much is she worth? You went and put a number on her. How much does she deserve? You went and put a number, and now there's smoke already in our lungs, and the season's just begun. There is smoke already in our lungs. It's just begun. Why do we wait?
worth? You went and put a number on her. How much does she deserve? You went and put a number on her. Why do we wait till it's too late? Who can you say that it's a lie today? She's in pain, and you went away, let it lay. Meanwhile, we are all ablaze. We are all ablaze.
91.3 WVKR, brand new music. The album is called The Quiver. It's by In These Trees and Tarty. The Quiver. Recorded locally in Boyceville at David Barron's studio. The track we just heard was called Ablaze. Music and lyrics by the artist Tarty. She's on vocals, Jennifer Kreisberg on backing vocals, David Barron on piano, and Oliver Manchin on viola. Beautiful new album. I played a track from this last week and I'm digging it, so I might pick another one from this one next week as well. I hope you guys are enjoying this new album. Again, it's by In These Trees and Tarty. You'll find it on wherever you buy your music from, and the album is called The Quiver. Beautifully done right here in Boyceville, right by Woodstock. So, yeah, congratulations on this beautiful album. We also heard new music by Larry Campbell, Teresa Williams. The album is titled All This Time. I'm holding it in my hand and it's going to be released like any minute now. They are my guests next week on the show, which is a milestone next week because it's show number 400 of LocalMotion. And I am honored beyond words to have Larry Campbell and Teresa Williams back on to be my guests because many reasons, but one of the real big reasons is because they were my first ever guests. So it's kind of full circles. After 400 shows, they're back on and we're still here. And that's a pretty cool thing. So looking forward to talking to Larry Campbell and Teresa Williams next Wednesday. They'll be playing at the Falcon in Marlborough the following night, next Thursday, the 11th. And yeah, just check out LarryCampbellTeresaWilliams.com. Brand new music coming out. We're going to play a lot of the album next week while we're talking to them. So you're not going to want to miss that. And we are now, it's 5:40, got a few minutes left, some more music coming. But what I'm going to do now is take my time and do musical happenings. I do this towards the end of the show where I list in alphabetical order some of our area venues in the hopes that you go support live music. World-class venues right here, folks, at our fingertips. You don't even have to go that far. And let's start off with the Bardavon and UPAC, bardavon.org, April 13th. Wendy Sykes at UPAC. April 13th at the Bardavon, Pat Metheny. April 14th, Old Crow Medicine Show. April 30, The Decemberists. Barnstock in Woodstock, also at barnstockny.com. April 13, Actual Trio and Peter Einhorn. Bearsville Theater in Woodstock, also bearsvilletheater.com. April 12, Get Zepp. April 19, Nick Waterhouse. Uncle Chief in Brewster, and tickets and info at unclechief.com. Thursday, Grease Patrol. Friday, Chris Berkson. Saturday, Akiko Tsuyorko. Sunday, Brazilian Jazz Brunch with Leandro Pellegrino. City Winery, Hudson Valley in Montgomery, and citywinery.com. April 4th, tomorrow, Joshua Radin. April 13th, Trashy Annie. April 17th, David Kushner. Colony in Woodstock and colonywoodstock.com. Tonight, Kane Brothers Blues Band. Thursday, Reese Shad and the Conversations and David Bennett Cohen. Friday, Woods and Avery Tarr. Saturday, Crystal Ship, a tribute to the Doors. Sunday is Kid Biss and the Magic Ring, and every Monday is an open mic at Colony. The Falcon in Marlborough and live at thefalcon.com. Tomorrow, Richard Lloyd's Television. Friday, Quanqua. Saturday, Willie Nile. Sunday, Steve Smith and Vital Information. Fisher Center at Bard College and fishercenter.bard.edu. April 6th and 7th, Beethoven 6th and the Rite of Spring with the orchestra now. Howland Chamber Music Circle at Howland Cultural Center in Beacon. Tickets and info, howlandmusic.org. April 7, Mertz Trio. Jazz Forum in Tarrytown and at jazzforumarts.org. Friday and Saturday, April 5 and 6, 2 shows each night featuring David Janeway Quintet featuring Billy Hart and Craig Handy. The Local in Saugerties and thelocalsaugerties.com. April 5, Simi Stone with Jack Petrucelli and Friends. April 6, Dance Party with Nicodemus. April 10th, Music and Dance from Veracruz, Mexico. The Stissing Center in Pine Plains and thestissingcenter.org. April 6 and 7, an evening of choreography. April 13th, Alla Barara. Tarrytown Music Hall in Tarrytown and at tarrytownmusichall.org. April 6th, Shovels and Rope. April 13, Marty Stewart. Town Crier in Beacon, also towncrier.com. Every Thursday, an open mic. Friday on the Salon stage, Mark and Jill. Friday on the main stage, Bruce Katz Band. Saturday on the Salon stage, Robert Tellefson. Saturday on the main stage, Stella Blues Band. Sunday brunch with East Coast Jazz and Sunday evening Songwriters Showcase. Saratoga Jazz Festival at Saratoga Performing Arts Center, June 29 and 30, featuring Lake Street Dive, Samara Joy, Nora Jones, Terrence Blanchard, Stanley Clark, and so many more. Also, Larry Campbell and Teresa Williams' July Jam at Arrowwood Farms in Accord on July 20th, featuring Acoustic Hot Tuna, Jackie Green, The Secret Sisters, and many more. Tickets at larryandteresa.com. And that's what I got. So with summer coming, there's going to be 4 pages of great music happening because there's like a lot of seasonal venues around here as well. So we'll be starting to mention them pretty soon. And I'm going to play a track from this incredible artist who is part of the Saratoga Jazz Festival this year. Let's take a listen to music by Nora Jones here on 91.3 WVKR.
Take me back to paradise. I could make the sacrifice. I'm trying to save you. What else is there left to learn? Watching all these fires burn, I'm waiting. It's true. I watch you fall. I try to stop waiting for the pain to drop. I know I've got to let you go again. Although I never wanted this to end, I know it's time to let you go. Oh, oh, oh.
but never broken, knocked down. But I keep going. I've decided to stand my ground. I will not be moved, and I have no fear. I know why I'm here. An easy road was never promised, and so much has been taken from us. But I won't stop no matter how much I have to go through. I won't shed one tear. I know why I'm here. The future is in our hands. Now's the time to stand. Together we'll pave the way. Those who walk by faith with their heads held high have the power to change the world. Bending, but I can't be broken. I've been knocked down, but I choose to keep going. I decided to stand my ground. I will not be moved, and I have no fear. So don't you shed one tear, 'cause I know why I'm here. Ooh.
91.3 WVKR, an exquisite voice, Samara Joy. This is from the film Shirley that's on Netflix. We heard Why I'm Here. We also heard another extraordinary voice, Nora Jones. New album called Visions, the track Paradise. Both ladies, that's true, both ladies will be part of the Saratoga Jazz Festival this June up at Saratoga Performing Arts Center. Tickets available at spac.org, and it is a stellar lineup this year. It is every year. No kidding there, but super extraordinary. So yeah, get your tickets now, spac.org. It's 5:52. We are coming towards the end, but have no fear. Dr. J is here. Oh my God, I just rhymed. I didn't even mean to. Dr. J is here with Irie Groove, which begins at the top of the hour. I want to thank Chris Smither, who was my guest today. Extraordinary conversation, and just what a legend, man. Been doing music for 60 years. His 20th release, his new album called All About the Bones, coming out on May 3rd. And he'll be at Levon Helm Studios on May 31st in Woodstock and June 7th at the